Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is Pro Football Today. Today we're going to be looking at the AFC South. But before I do that, of course, breaking news last week, Cam Newton is now the quarterback for the New England Patriots, signed to as little of a deal as they possibly could. Even with incentives, it is still $7.5 million. That's the maximum. Otherwise, minimum, if I'm right, is 1.1 million, which is crazy considering there's so many backup quarterbacks that are getting paid higher than him. But at least he is getting paid the same amount as Jameis Winston, who is now a backup quarterback. So here's the thing with Cam Newton. This does change the AFC East, my AFC East predictions a little bit. I said before that one of the big reasons why I had the Patriots down is because of the quarterback. If it's Stidham or Hoyer, they're going to lose a few extra games than if they had Brady. And I think the same thing if Cam Newton is the starting quarterback, if Cam Newton is healthy throughout the entire season. Because here's the problem with Cam Newton right now is he's being paid so little, he's expendable. There is that chance that he won't make it past training camp if there is a training camp. There is a chance Cam Newton will be a free agent once again before the season starts because he's getting paid so little. They're not losing anything by letting him go. So there is that chance. But assuming that he is a starter, which I don't see any reason why he wouldn't unless he has a little bit of a battle with Belichick or maybe because he gets hurt again. I don't know. There's only two things I can think of. Other than those happening, Cam Newton will be the starting quarterback of the New England Patriots. So this does change my predictions up a little bit. If Cam Newton is a starter, New England will win division. I think those extra maybe 2 or 3 wins will put them a game or two above Buffalo. So sorry, Buffalo fans. I think it's going to happen once again. You're going to come so close. But I don't think Buffalo's going to win division this year. Next year, who knows? Cam might not be the quarterback next year. We don't know what's going to happen just yet. Maybe we're going to go through this all over again. Who knows? But I think New England number 1, Buffalo number 2, and then, of course, down the bottom, I believe I had Miami number 4 and the Jets number 3. Maybe I have them swapped. Now I can't remember. But Patriots number 1, Bills number 2, and Bills will make playoffs. I do have the Bills making playoffs. After thinking of the AFC South and AFC West and looking back at the AFC North, I think it's nuts not to have both of them in the playoffs. So it doesn't really matter what happens. I think if Ken doesn't work out, New England might be able to squeeze into the playoffs. I think there's definitely that chance of New England sneaking their way into the playoffs. So I'm expecting both teams in the playoffs, but now the Patriots above the Bills. So now going to the AFC South. A lot of things have happened in the AFC South. This is a new division than what it was this time last season. Minus the whole Andrew Luck retiring thing. So let's take a look. Number 4. Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, I have them back at number 4. Now, before I really start talking about the Jaguars, I just want to say this. They have done a very good job. I think the Jaguars could easily be the best number 4 in the AFC, maybe in the NFL. They're a very good team, and they're up and coming, but there's just some question marks mainly on the offense, quarterback position, that's going to hinder on their way up even to number 3. And what you have to remember with the AFC South is this is a really good division. Last year, 3 teams were in position to make the playoffs, and I think the same thing is going to happen this year. I think the Colts, Titans, and Texans are all 3 going to be in the playoff hunt, and that just leaves the Jaguars as the odd team out. But I do love what they're doing. This defense is up and coming. I think we could see a resurgence of Jacksonville's defense. Joe Schobert comes down from Cleveland. They go and draft Chase Son. There's edge rusher in the first round. So now you have him alongside Josh Allen. Well, I guess on the other side. And then Jalen Ramsey, yes, he's gone. They draft C.J. Henderson, who can be a good replacement. Now, don't get me wrong, he's not Jalen Ramsey. He's not going to be that good. But he can be a reliable fit for that defense. And then they also have Rashawn Melvin that they picked up. But my biggest issue is Gardner Minshew. I love Gardner Minshew. I want him to start forever, but we've only seen just a little glimpse. And yes, here's a rookie. He can grow. That can definitely happen. But we saw some good things from him. We also saw some sloppiness from him. So he can grow, but I think there's still just a little bit of some concern that maybe he's not going to be the guy. I mean, when's the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars actually had a decent quarterback? Aaron Bortles might be the best quarterback they've had since David Garrard. But, and it's also the receiving core. The receiving core has some issues. You have a bunch of guys who can be something, underrated guys that can easily break out. DJ Chark, D.D. Westbrook, and who knows, maybe Chenault. They're rookie in the second round. Maybe he can show up this year. But this is a young team. It can happen. I think next year you could see Jacksonville taking off, especially if Tannehill doesn't end up working out for some reason they're in Tennessee, or Phillip Rivers doesn't stay any longer, and the Colts don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. You could see Jaguars easily up towards the top of the division in 2021. But for right now, 2020, I have the Jaguars down there at the bottom at number 4. Like where I said, probably the best number 4 in the AFC, maybe in the NFL. And number 3, I had the Tennessee Titans. Yes, I had the Titans going from the conference playoffs down to number 3 and not making playoffs. Now, here's my reasoning for that. They really haven't gotten better. In fact, they've either stayed the same or they've gotten just a little bit worse. Vic Beasley was a great pickup. That's the one pickup I'm very proud of. For the Titans, picking up Vic Beasley, their defensive end. But they lost Conklin. Now, they couldn't have gotten him if they wanted Tannehill and Derrick Henry back. I applaud them for getting both Henry and Tannehill back. Very good job. But Conklin's going to be a huge loss for them. They did get Isaiah Wilson in the first round. Now, is he Jack Conklin? No. But he can be a good replacement for him. They also lose Logan Ryan. They did replace him in the second round with Fulton. So here's the thing. They've lost a couple of huge pieces, and they've gotten a couple of people who can fit the bill, but aren't necessarily filling their shoes completely. Now, offensively, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be incredible this season. I just don't. I don't see him being exceptional. Ryan Tannehill has never been an elite quarterback. He's been a franchise quarterback. See, there's a difference between the two of them. He's one of those middle-tier quarterbacks that will play for a while, and they're good. I mean, they're not terrible. They're not bad. But they're just not elite. They're not great. They're not going to lead the league in touchdowns. They're not going to lead the league in yardage, but they will get at least 3,000 yards a season and get at least 20 touchdowns a season and be just fine. That's Tannehill. I think a lot of Tannehill's success this last season was because he came in mid-season. A lot of quarterbacks, when they end up doing that, can just take off. Teams don't have a lot to prep for them. This could explain why Nick Foles did so great in Philly a couple years ago when they made it to the Super Bowl. That sometimes when you have a change of the guard, the next quarterback ends up playing better. Now, I do think Tannehill's a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota, but I don't think he's going to be exceptional, and I think that's what's going to hurt him. But they're not going to be bad. This team's not going to be bad. I'm thinking probably on the lines of 8-8. They'll have a decent season. You won't be looking at the Titans saying, holy cow, they're a terrible football team. No, they're going to be good. But I don't think they're going to be back up to that spot. Texans had some losses, but I still think the Texans are a better team. And the Colts have gotten better. So it really hurts Tennessee is they really just haven't gotten better. And I think that's what's really going to hurt them right now. So I have them down there at number 3. Number 2, I got the Colts. I got the Colts going number 2. I think a lot of their issues was because Andrew Luck was not their quarterback. They need a leader, and I just don't think that's Jacoby Brissett. I don't think he was ready to take on that role. We know this was a good team. Brissett was a quarterback before, and things kind of went okay, kind of like what they did this season. Luck came back, and all of a sudden this team was a playoff team again. You need to have the right quarterback, and I think Phillip Rivers can be the right quarterback. That, and also I love what they've done on the defense. This is an up-and-coming defense. Every year there's one or two defenses just kind of sprout. You don't see them coming, but they are elite defenses. New England was kind of this way this last year. San Fran was this way last year. Chicago was that way back in 2018. And I think the Colts can be this defense that sprouts up. DeForest Buckner is there. I got DeForest Buckner. TJ Carey came in. So Xavier Rhodes, building the cornerback core. That was one of the biggest needs was that cornerback core. And don't forget, Darius Leonard is still there. One of the best linebackers in the league. The Colts defense can easily be one of the best defenses in the AFC. Can easily be one of the best defenses in the AFC. And how the offense looks, I think having a capable quarterback like Phillip Rivers is going to help out T.Y. Hilton. I think T.Y. Hilton, yes, he had kind of an offseason last season, but I think that could have been, I mean, he was hurt, but also I don't think Brissett was really that guy. So having Rivers there is going to help out T.Y. You still have Paris Campbell in there. They draft Michael Pittman. They draft Jonathan Taylor as well to help out the running back core, which I thought was kind of strange. Marlon Mack did not have a bad season, and Hines has been a good receiving back option. But it looks like Jonathan Taylor will be the guy. He will be the starting running back. And all eyes are on him to see, well, can he hold on the ball effectively? Is he going to have any sort of fumbling issues? Can he be a lead back? And if not, they still have Marlon Mack to take that role. And Marlon Mack has done a fantastic job the last 2 seasons. Definitely an underrated running back. I don't understand a lot of the hate on him. He's been effective. He has been a good running back for Indianapolis the last few seasons. And they also lose Eric Ebron, but they did replace him with Trey Burton. Now, Trey Burton, ever since leaving Philadelphia, his time in Chicago just did not seem to click. Something was off. The nice thing about having him in Indianapolis is because you still have Jack Doyle. You don't have to depend solely on Trey Burton when it comes to tight end position. You still have Jack Doyle to help him out. All eyes are not on Trey Burton. That worked great for him when he was in Philadelphia alongside Zach Ertz. Now, Jack Doyle is not Zach Ertz, but Doyle is still a very good tight end. He's a very good tight end. So Colts, they're up and coming. The only reason they weren't this good last season was because Andrew Luck was not their quarterback. They didn't have a great quarterback, and now they do in Phillip Rivers. And I know he had somewhat of an off season last season. A lot of the losses were his fault. He tried to throw the ball in the field too much in the fourth quarter. It just didn't work out. He wasn't looking for the open reads. He was just trying to make a big play to end the game, and it just didn't work. But I think he'll be just fine there. There in Indianapolis. Now, I said before, the Colts could be a Super Bowl team last year with Andrew Luck. So why can't they be a playoff team with Phillip Rivers? That's right, I have the Colts being the other seed in the playoffs. The Bills and the Colts taking the wild card spots. So that must mean the winner of the division. Yes, I still have the Houston Texans winning division. And I know what you're thinking, but they had a terrible trade. They traded DeAndre Hopkins away. They got David Johnson. They didn't re-sign Carlos Hyde. They didn't bring back Lamar Miller. So how can the Texans be number one? Because the Texans still have Deshaun Watson. David Johnson can still be an effective running back when he's healthy. And this receiving core is one of the deepest receiving cores in the league. In fact, I'll even put it out there that they are the deepest receiving core in the league. The issue with the Texans receiving core right now is that they get hurt. The top 3 receivers all have an injury history. Brandon Cooks, Kenny Stills, and Will Fuller. If all three of them can stay healthy, though, they will easily win division. Brandon Cooks is a very good receiver. This last year was his worst season since his rookie season back in 2014. The first season since then that he hasn't had 1,000 yards, and that was because he was hurt. Brandon Cooks can still be a very good receiver in this league. He's not DeAndre Hopkins. The trade was a terrible trade, but they somewhat fixed it. Somewhat fixed it with the addition of Brandon Cooks. It makes it a little bit easier to swallow. So even with the terrible trade, even with Bill O'Brien not knowing what he's doing whatsoever as GM, I think the Texans can still win division because their offense is still capable. It is still capable. Duke Johnson is still a good receiving running back. David Johnson can be a very good running back for them if he can stay healthy. And this receiving core, if they're healthy, can be very, very good. And don't forget the addition of Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is a very good receiver. If you're looking for a receiver who's reliable definitely in the slot. I know he's a little bit older now, but he is one of the most reliable reliable receivers. If I'm looking for a receiver that I know he can get open on short routes, he may not be a burner, he may not beat the corners willy-nilly on the outside of the field. He's one of the few that I would say is very reliable. Him and Cole Beasley, I think, fit that bill. When it comes to a nice third option, a nice slot receiver option, Cobb will be just fine there in Houston. I think he helps out Watson tremendously, especially after losing a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. But I don't see Watson really taking too much of a dip. Yes, he's going to take a dip because, Hopkins was so good. You don't have that target that you can just throw to all the time. He's gone, but you still have guys you can throw the ball around to. They still have good receivers. They just don't have that standout number one. There's not really any other receiver who is like DeAndre Hopkins, maybe just Julio Jones, Michael Thomas. So they definitely lose something, but they still have guys you can throw the ball to. I think Watson will be just fine. I think the Texans will be just fine. I think the biggest concern that I have about the Texans is their cornerback core. They brought back Roby, brought back Hargreaves, brought back Gaines, but they lost Jonathan Joseph and didn't really do anything. They didn't grab another corner or anything. So you're relying heavily when it comes to Philip Gaines and Vernon Hargreaves. Both of them haven't had the best careers, haven't had terrible careers. Hargreaves, mainly because he was a first-round pick, a lot of disappointment surrounding him. Otherwise, you're relying a lot on him. And safety, Gibson's gone. So that spot looks like it's going to be between Michael Thomas and Eric Murray. Can one of them be as good as Deshaun Gibson? I'm just not sure. But there's a lot of ifs over Houston, but I think Houston will be just fine. Win division. I think it's safe to say they'll win division over the Colts, especially over the Titans. But that's what I have for you today. Jacksonville number 4, Tennessee number 3, Colts number 2 making the wild card, and number 1, Houston Texans still reign supreme. And for the note, just want to make sure I note this or put this down, that Texans will not make it too far in the playoffs. Hopkins definitely hurts them much when it comes to the playoffs because in those big game situations, you need that reliable target. And if Brandon Cooks can't necessarily be that reliable target, of course, it's not going to be as reliable as DeAndre Hopkins. That's going to hurt him in the end. They already were not the greatest playoff team, so I see him going out in the first round. But we'll cover more of that when and if I go through playoff predictions. But that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate if you're listening to me right now, I appreciate you watching the entire video. If you like this stuff, please subscribe. Every week I'll be trying to do another video going through another division, and hopefully when the season starts you'll be seeing a lot more when it comes to NFL news, and I'll be having a lot more when it comes to my Chicago Bears Journal as well. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day.